I became Nox Jung's first wife, and he hated me for half my life. He hated me for forcing him to marry by getting pregnant, which made him lose his beloved, and caused him to spend his whole life as a small-town businessman, living in isolation. I hate him for spending his days drinking, gambling, and indulging in vices, not caring about family matters, and even tolerating his family of wolves to mistreat me. So, after an accident, we were reborn with resentment towards each other. At the graduation ceremony, our eyes glanced over the crowd and fell on each other, then we both turned away without hesitation, rushing toward the endings we wanted. I hope this time, neither of us will regret it. The day I decided to work in the city, my mom kissed my face several times. She was overjoyed. My good daughter, in a few years, you will definitely be grateful for your choice today. Don't follow that Zheng guy around like a shadow anymore. From my experience as a mother, I tell you. He's not a good guy. After saying that, she went to the living room and called out to her father in the kitchen. Ming brother, add a braised fish today. You cut the chili peppers and ginger first. I'll go buy the fish downstairs. Slap. As the door closed, her father also peeked out and looked at me. He was holding a spatula. Like a man full of homey warmth, finally listened to advice. Ha ha ha. Seeing my father smiling at me with satisfaction, I couldn't help but feel a lump in my throat. In my previous life, I didn't listen to my parents and insisted on saving Nox Jung, who was being beaten by hooligans. My father couldn't rest easy, so he secretly followed me. I used my body to protect Nox Jung, who was cornered in an alley, but the sticks that the hooligans were supposed to hit me with didn't fall. When I turned around, I knew that it was my father who took the beating for me. His head was struck heavily by a stick, and blood immediately flowed out. After being taken to the hospital, he died despite the resuscitation efforts. My mother had coronary heart disease, and after learning that her husband had died, she was so angry that she died the next day. Thinking about this, my tears fell again without permission. I warned myself, Ivy Ming, you must strive. So, I immediately called the hour's phone. Leader, I have figured it out. I can start work anytime. In my previous life, due to outstanding performance during the internship, I received an offer from a listed company before graduation. With a generous salary, my childhood friend Nox Jung faced unemployment upon graduation, and later he told me that he wanted to return to his hometown to take over his father's business and work in engineering, and he even asked me to give up my job with a salary of 20,000 yuan a month and go back to the hometown with him. When a woman falls into a love obsession, it is truly terrifying. I actually did give up the promising job, and resolutely went back to the hometown with him. The result is that I just rejected the company, and that night he told me he didn't plan to go back to his hometown, but wanted to stay in the city of the university to develop, and said that here everything was starting from scratch. He could borrow money from his father to do engineering in the city. He is too naive. The engineering in the city can't be compared to that in the county, in this society of relationships, without connections. It's hard to make progress. Nox Jung's parents came to see me overnight, hoping I would try to persuade him, so I went to see him. The result was seeing him pushed into an alley by hooligans. My parents, who gave birth to and raised me, passed away one after another. After Nox Jung was discharged from the hospital, he heard his parents say that I and my father had saved him, and that now the whole family was left with only me. He realized that he had destroyed my originally happy family and caused my family to be broken, so he insisted on compensating me and marrying me. However, on the day before the wedding, he suddenly called it off, so under the pressure and temptation of his parents, Nox Jung had no choice but to continue with the wedding with me. At this point, I only had Nox Jung left. I put all my attention on him, and didn't notice that he was becoming increasingly distant towards me. The second month of our marriage, I became pregnant. Nox Jung didn't want to have a child too early, thinking the pressure was too great, but I clearly knew that it wasn't the pressure, but that he just hadn't had enough fun and didn't want to be a father. I went to the hospital to plan for an abortion, but my mother-in-law arrived just in time and stopped me outside. Daughter-in-law, I've watched you grow up. Nox Jung is being unreasonable. Why are you also being unreasonable? You can't abort the child. This is our old Zheng family's first grandson. I shed tears of emotion, but I ignored the fleeting shadow of darkness in my mother-in-law's eyes. So, I stayed at home to rest and prepare for childbirth. The time passed quickly, and with the birth of a pair of twins, I started postpartum confinement and breastfeeding. I handled both big and small matters myself, never delegating to others, doing everything with my own hands. Time flew by, 3 years passed. And the children had already learned to walk and babble. In the past 3 years as a mother in the Zheng family, I have come to realize a very realistic thing. Although my in-laws say they treat me as their own, the things they do for me are not even 1% of what my parents do, no matter what I buy for food, clothing, or daily use. My in-laws will always mock and ridicule it a little, so I decided to be self-reliant, and I told Nox Zheng that I wanted to go out and work. Nox Zheng agreed. I was delighted to submit my resume, but when I received the second job offer, my in-laws both fell ill and were hospitalized. Nox Zheng said that now that I am a mother, I should be more mature and not go out to work, but instead take care of his parents and children at home. He also said that earning money was his responsibility alone. I was furious, but for his so-called face, I didn't expose him. He appeared to be a successful project manager outside, but in reality, every month he had to take money from the family. The money in my in-laws' family is basically tied up in the project. How much cash do they have at home anyway? So during the time I take care of the elderly and look after the kids, I try to write articles and submit them. The scattered fees from my articles can barely support the whole family, but Nox Zheng's monthly expenses are a huge number to me. He always said, "It's almost done, it's almost done, the project payment is about to come in." And then naturally asked me for money. If I didn't give it to him, he would get angry and hit me, saying that if I didn't give him the money, all the funds he had invested so far would be wasted, the Zheng family would suffer, and I, as the Zheng family's daughter-in-law, wouldn't be any better off either, and would have to share the debt with him. Later, I had no choice but to sell the only house my parents left me. Then I used all that money to fill the bottomless pit of the Zheng family. The good thing is that the manuscript fees are gradually increasing, and I can finally barely raise the children. The financial pressure of the old Zheng family is like a big mountain, suffocating me. Nox Zheng uses my manuscript fees recklessly outside, while saying that I'm old and write those messy, unsuitable for display trashy novels. I couldn't help but say, "You look down on the manuscript fees. If you have the ability, don't use them, earn money yourself." He was ashamed and angry, and beat me again, every time when it's quiet at night. I always end up alone in a corner, curled up like a clown in the darkness and crying. I and Nox Zheng have been childhood friends since we were young, but how did things end up like this? I can't understand it. In my novel, Marriage is Never the Grave of Love, I tell readers to be brave and strive forward, but in reality, my love for Nox Zheng has long since dissipated in marriage due to family, children, parents, and daily necessities. If it weren't for the children, I probably wouldn't have been able to continue. After this argument, Nox Zheng rarely came back. Every time I come back, I'm full of alcohol, drunk and holding a whip as I enter the room, beating me until I tremble and take out my phone to transfer money to him. Then he lets me go. Yet, the only source of comfort for my heart, my twin daughters, are not affectionate towards me at all, and even look at me with a hint of disgust. During the junior high to senior high school transition, my children were 1 point short of entering a key high school, and I begged the teachers and principal with my dignity on the line. Finally, the principal and the teacher agreed. I was happy at home using a fruit knife to peel fruits for the 2 children, but they became even more resentful of me. My daughter said, "Mom, you can control Dad's life, but you also want to control our lives." My son echoed, "Exactly, what's the point of a key high school? Being good at studying can change your life. In the future, won't you just end up being someone's servant? If it wasn't for you forcing my dad to marry you with your grandparents' pressure, would our family be like this now?" My heart broke at that moment. I never expected that after working so hard all these years, taking care of the children, I not only didn't get a single word of thanks from them, but they also had so much resentment towards me. I left the house in a daze, even forgetting to throw away the fruit knife in my hand. Just arrived at the underground garage. I could see from a distance that Knox Zheng's black BMW was shaking. I furrowed my brow and approached. Suddenly, a woman's hand slammed against the car window, leaving a series of fogged-up handprints. How could there be a woman inside Knox Zheng's BMW? The answer is self-evident. Soon, the BMW stopped swaying, and Knox Zheng, looking satisfied, was hugging a woman with disheveled clothes in the back seat. "When are you going to divorce your wife?" the woman asked. Knox Zheng laughed. "Why rush? Why not use a free nanny?" The woman also smiled. "You're right, when the two of you got married. You didn't give her a penny as a dowry, just got a marriage certificate, no 3 golds and no proper wedding. And she has been taking care of the children, taking care of your parents, and earning money for both of us these years." Knox Zheng laughed heartily. "Then maybe we shouldn't get divorced yet. Let her support us instead." I opened the car door and smiled sinisterly. "Do you think this fruit knife is sharp?" The faces of the dogmen changed abruptly. "I killed them, stabbing one 19 times. Totaling 38 stabs, be a person in the next life. After killing them, I sat in the car, closed the door, and turned on the car's air conditioning. I die in sleep, without pain, in the next life. Don't ever let me meet Knox Zheng, otherwise, I'll kill him again. Daughter, eat fish. Why are you staring?" My mother's call pulled me back from my memories. I sniffed. "So delicious, Mom and Dad, I just had a long dream." I told my parents about my past life in the form of a story. After all, in my past life I was just a minor author. After hearing my story, my parents fell into silence. Obviously, they were deeply immersed in my story. "Daughter," my mother picked up a piece of fish and put it in my bowl. "After dinner, we'll move immediately to the city where you work." I was surprised. "Moving? What about the house?" Father lit a cigarette, as if he had made up his mind. "It's strange. This scene, I think I dreamed about it 4 or 5 years ago. Let's sell this house. We'll move to the city, and we won't be neighbors with the old Zheng family anymore. They are too good at taking small advantages." As the head of the family has spoken, as a daughter, I naturally have no objections. My parents are doors. That afternoon, our family packed our luggage and got into my father's car, preparing to go to the city where I work. His good friend in the city has already arranged for him to rent an apartment, which is affordable. When we were leaving, we happened to run into the Zheng family coming back. "Oh, are you moving? Where are you going?" Ms. Zheng approached and greeted, her eyebrows slightly furrowed. "Ivy Ming, you moved away. Aren't you afraid other women will take away my son? He's very popular at school." Knox Zheng's father came over and said with a smile, "Ivy, I heard you did well during your internship and were recruited by the company early. Great, you have a job after graduation, unlike my son, who can only take over the family business." Hehe, saying this with a regretful tone, his eyes and expression clearly said, "What's the use of good grades? You still end up working like a ox for us. The bosses, Mom and Dad, don't bother with her. She can go wherever she wants. It's nothing to do with our old Zheng family." I looked up, surprised at Knox Zheng, and just that one glance, I was certain that he must have also been reborn. I turned without hesitation and got into my father's car. "This life, I will live as myself. As for Knox Zheng, let him do as he pleases, it's none of my business." As the day when Knox Zheng refused to go back to school and returned to his hometown to take over the family business drew closer, I gradually adapted to the work pace of the new company. On Friday after work, I ran into Knox Zheng's mother, Li Yang. Li Yang handed me a bottle of water and smiled, asking, "Hey, you're off work now." I frowned, wondering why she had followed me all the way from her hometown. "What's wrong, Auntie? Do you need something?" Li Yang nodded awkwardly. Knox Zheng doesn't plan to continue with postgraduate studies anymore. He wants to go back to his hometown and work with his father in construction. I adjusted my expression and lowered my head, pretending not to care, and said, "That's good. Construction is quite profitable these days." Profitable? It was indeed profitable a few years ago, but it will take a downturn in the next few years. Li Yang shook her head. "What's good about it? It's hard to do anything these days. I want him to continue with postgraduate studies. Can you go back and talk to Knox Zheng for me? He always listens to you." "Listen to me." I laughed. This woman really knows how to act. in my previous life. I thought Aunt Li Yang truly treated me well, until later I realized it was all a joke. She had already set her eyes on my house, so she forced Nox Zheng and me to marry after my parents both passed away. I didn't know Li Yang's heart was so evil back then, and I naively treated her as my own mother. Even later when she faked being sick and was hospitalized, I took care of her myself. Li Yang. Whether or not to pursue a master's degree is Nox Zheng's own decision. I can't persuade him. I have already told him before that if there isn't a good job, he should continue studying for a master's. He hasn't heard me say that. I was telling the truth, and I also subtly refused Li Yang's advice. Li Yang smiled and patted my hair. Good daughter, if you don't go back. What if Nox Zheng starts dating someone else? I think you should give me the key to the house. I'll tidy it up when I have time, and then when you have vacation, you can come back to live here. Auntie knows you have always liked Nox Zheng, and I truly like your future daughter-in-law. So, no, Auntie Li Yang. I immediately refused before she could finish. Nox Zheng has his own life choices. I won't interfere. That's it. I have something important to do tonight, so I won't see you off. Goodbye, Auntie. I turned around and left. Best never to see you again. I feel disgusted just looking at you. Li Yangming knows I'm staying in the provincial city to develop my future. And there's no future with his son anymore. He even wants to take advantage of my house. How disgusting. I didn't look back and left immediately. After returning to my rented apartment, I told my parents everything right away. My father immediately decided to sell the house as soon as possible. But my father's new job had just become stable, and he didn't trust my mother to sell the house, so he gave the property certificate to me and let me handle it entirely. The day I returned to my hometown, Aunt Li Yang from next door came to my door as if she could smell it, her eyes red and filled with genuine hatred. Ivy Ming, why didn't you come back to persuade my son? Li Yang suddenly raised her voice, and I was startled. This is the first time I've seen her act so out of character. I guess because before I married into the Zheng family, I never openly defied her, but now my attitude has suddenly become cold, and she can't handle this contrast. It has nothing to do with me regarding your son. Li Yang glared at me fiercely. If my son doesn't get a good job, I won't let you have a good life either. I furrowed my brow. Why is Li Yang being so unreasonable? Does Nox Zheng have a job, and is it good or not? That's his own choice. I have already planned the route for him. If he doesn't listen, can it be my fault? When silent, the real estate agent showed the house to the buyer. Which one of you is Ivy Ming? I raised my hand. It's me. Come in with me. I took the agent and the buyer into the house and introduced some of the things in it, including details about daily living. The buyer was a new civil servant, a young boy who had just passed the civil service exam and was assigned to this small county. It was no surprise that he would spend the rest of his life here. So his family paid for the house to buy this property. The boy immediately fell in love with the warm and cozy layout of the house and asked me how much it cost. The buyer is a first-time buyer, and I just wanted to sell quickly. We quickly agreed on the price, which was surprisingly fast. Li Yang, who was originally just watching from the side, was taken aback. When I was about to sign, she rushed over and stopped me. Are you really going to sell the house? Keeping the house can help you get promoted. Are you not planning to come back in the future? Are you really not going to be my daughter-in-law? Her words had an obvious purpose. She thought that I hadn't been in touch with her son recently because I was angry with him, giving him the cold shoulder, and selling the house was just a ploy to make her son come to his senses. Unfortunately, she got everything wrong, because the root of the problem was wrong. After rebirth, I just wanted to stay away from my family, hoping to leave as soon as possible. I signed it without hesitation. At night, I looked at the old house where I had lived since childhood, and I still felt a bit reluctant. Tomorrow, I will go to the government to transfer the property ownership and collect the money, and then the house selling process will be completely over. Although Li Yang tried to interfere with the house matters, she could only threaten me. I don't care about anything except my parents, so she can't treat me like she did in the past. My boss called me to his office and told me I could be promoted to a regular employee early, with a monthly salary of 20,000. I was happy to go home and share the news with my parents. My father smiled and said, "My dear daughter is so great. Her mother was genuinely happy, and the sentimental mother even shed tears. Our daughter has made it, who says studying is useless. But the accident still came, in the second month of work. The company sent me to negotiate a contract with the client, and I ran into Knox Zheng, whom I hadn't seen for a long time. He was the client the company had mentioned. Knox Zheng was also with a woman. I squinted my eyes and saw that it was the woman who I had killed in the BMW car in my previous life. I should also thank you for letting me go, which allowed me to meet my one and only love early." Saying that, he reached his hand behind the woman beside him and held her in his arms. No wonder I haven't heard from Knox Zheng these days. Everything makes sense now. He has also been reborn. So he naturally uses the advantage of his previous life's memories to work hard on developing his own career. It seems the women around him are not simple. The deal, as expected, fell through. The leader is very angry because Knox Zheng is a very important client. I thought that once the contract ended, the company would send a new representative to continue the discussion. That's how it was, but I was fired. It goes without saying that it's Knox Zheng behind it. I didn't expect that in my second life. He still didn't forget to annoy me and take revenge on me. Originally, I just wanted to take care of my own life and never see him again. I didn't expect that he would still bother me in another way, but he abused his position for personal gain, and I was not someone to be taken advantage of. I didn't bring the news of being unemployed home, but instead went out to work every day with my notebook, then went to a cafe and worked hard on writing a book. I have too many ideas in my head. I have a general sense of what time periods readers like to read, and what types they prefer. Grab both male and female novels at the same time, writing 3 or 4 books simultaneously. After half a year, my income from manuscript fees was dozens of times more than in my previous life. I know all of this isn't the result of my own efforts, just taking advantage of the benefits of two lives' memories. So, I took the money and bought Bitcoin, which was just emerging. At this time, Bitcoin was especially cheap. In a few years, its value will explode exponentially. After doing all that, I still had 200,000 yuan. So I rented an apartment in a building near my home and started a media company. The company was small, and I planned to hire 10 writers, provide them with ideas, and then be a wicked capitalist. Even if I don't take the position, someone else will. Everyone does it according to their own ability. Of course, I am also a kind person, and I treat my employees very well. That day, after finishing work, I just lay back in the boss's chair to rest when I noticed someone mentioned me in their WeChat moments. I opened it and found it was Knox Zheng's social media post. He never posts on social media. I almost forgot about him. In the grid of 9 photos, there were his and his girlfriend's wedding photos, happy and fulfilling. I also have Li Yang's WeChat. She commented below, "Congratulations to my son and Zhao Ya for getting married. Wish you two a happy marriage and have children soon. Everything is settled," and she even specifically mentioned me. I couldn't help but smile. This old woman is still stuck in the past. I put down my phone and ignored it. When I got home in the evening, my parents' faces were not good. The room was filled with a tense atmosphere. What's wrong? I picked up a piece of meat and put it in my mouth, asking my mother while eating. My mother looked at me with concern and hesitated to speak. Bang! It was my father who couldn't hold back. "Ivy Ming, how much longer are you going to hide it from us?" My father has always been very gentle. My mother usually takes care of all the family matters, and he is just a house husband. This is the first time I've ever seen him lose his temper. At this moment, I still don't understand. But they all already know. "Did Knox Zheng tell you?" I frowned and asked my father. My father took a deep breath but didn't respond. My mother cried. "She told us. Yesterday, wasn't Knox Zheng's engagement banquet. Li Yang invited us to attend, and during the gift giving, she told us." Dad looked at me. "What have you been doing lately? How could you keep such a big thing from us?" I calmly ate my food and then took out my phone, showing my phone balance. Seeing the balance with hundreds of thousands of deposits, both my parents were shocked, looked at each other, and their faces full of confusion. I put down my chopsticks and said to them with a smile, "Mom and Dad, I started a company and made some money. It's just a 20,000 salary job. My income here is at least 50,000 a month. Dad's eyes widened, filled with surprise. Mom glared at Dad. What's next? Daring to talk back to my daughter, you have to make another dish. Upon hearing this, Dad sheepishly went back into the kitchen. I couldn't help but laugh. Dad, don't do it. There's enough food on the table. In the future, you can put your hearts at ease. I can take care of myself, and you two are about to retire. Right, then we can travel together. Good, great, with no more burdens. The parents started gossiping about Knox Jung's wedding. Ivy, I'm going to tell you a big scoop. Are you listening? Mom gave me a sly smile. Dad kept his eyes on his nose, and his nose on his heart. I slightly raised my eyebrow. What big scoop? Is it worth Mom being so mysterious? Mom pulled up her hair and said, of course it's your childhood friend, Knox Jung. As soon as she mentioned Knox Jung, Mom's demeanor completely changed, like the village women in short videos who love to gossip. As if she had endless energy. You have no idea. She talked for half an hour, and only then did I understand the gossip about Knox Jung. Originally, after he gave up my advice and decided to continue studying for a master's degree, he immediately went back to his hometown and then went to look for Zhao Ya. Zhao Ya's father is also in the construction industry, and he has a bigger and better business than his father. Then the two of them got pregnant before marriage. After that, they got engaged. Actually, this wasn't a big deal. The main issue was that Knox Jung hadn't given up his bad habits from his previous life, such as drinking, gambling, and other vices, which were discovered by his future father-in-law. His future father-in-law reprimanded him and planned to call off the engagement, but Zhao Ya insisted on marrying him, so he had no choice but to agree. Later, when Zhao Ya was 3 months pregnant and her belly was clearly showing, they quickly held the wedding. The result was on the night of the wedding, when the father-in-law was at the club and caught his son-in-law ordering a companion. The two of them accidentally ordered the same one. Then things got out of hand. Seeing that his son-in-law was still not changing, the father-in-law immediately ordered the wedding to be cancelled. However, the wedding the next day still took place as scheduled. When hearing this, my mom looked very upset. I thought this marriage would fall through. I don't know what the Zhao Ya family is thinking. Knox Jung is such a guy, still wanting to marry him. Good thing my obedient daughter didn't end up with him, otherwise this family would be in chaos. I didn't respond. My parents don't know the details, and I can guess some of it. In my previous life, I knew Zhao Ya, and she often appeared together with Knox Jung in public. Knox Jung tricked me out of my money by telling me that Zhao Yang's father had done some shady deals. It's probably Knox Jung who brought this memory and directly confronted them. Otherwise, how could Zhao Yang's parents agree to let their beloved daughter marry a man who is a gambler, drinker, and womanizer? It's really true that a dog can't change its habit of eating feces. Even if I were reborn as the second person, it's still like this. However, this incident reminded me. It gave me the opportunity to take revenge on Knox Jung. He, reborn as the second person, didn't forget to annoy me, causing me to lose my job. Then I can't let him off easily either. I paid someone to report Knox Jung for violating the law, and I have already informed the person about which clauses he violated. Within less than a week, Knox Jung and his father-in-law were both arrested and investigated. Zhao Yang was terrified and even had a miscarriage because of the shock. This is an unexpected joy that I did not expect. In the previous life, you were not the one who seduced my husband, causing my family to break apart. In this life, I will let Zhao Yang experience the same suffering. I don't care about others, so I don't know, but I know Knox Jung was sentenced to 3 years in prison. My media company has gradually become stable over these 3 years. Although it's small, it involves a wide range of business content. My monthly income is very stable. The price of Bitcoin has experienced several sharp increases. Originally buying Bitcoin for a few thousand miles, it suddenly jumped to over 300,000. I know it can still go up in price, but I deeply understand the principle that ill-gotten wealth should not be taken in excess. So, when the price reached 400,000, I sold everything. My net worth soared to millions. When I was shopping with my best friend, I unexpectedly saw Knox Jung. He was carrying a bucket, dressed as a water delivery worker, delivering water to a clothing store. It's really a fateful encounter. I can't believe we met again. He also saw me. You. Knox Jung had just started to speak, and I pulled my girlfriend to another shop. My girlfriend looked curious. Do you know him? I noticed your expression was unusual. I smiled and shook my head. Not very familiar. He was a neighbor living in the same alley. How could I not know him? The past grudges and affairs are real. But my love for him back then was also real, of course. I also emphasized that it was back then. Now I have no feelings for him at all. I can deny him. But I cannot deny my own past feelings. Otherwise, wouldn't that mean denying myself? The light we long for in our youth is always something we have to stop and re-evaluate. I no longer had the mood to go shopping with my best friend, so after a few words, I sent her away, and then I walked alone on the street. A pair of grey sneakers came into my view among the crowd. I looked up and met Knox Jung's cold and cruel eyes. Did you pull the strings behind my imprisonment? I pretended not to know. Silently watching him. Don't pretend, report that person. He already confessed after I beat him up. I continued to stay silent, but I was thinking, even if you know it was me who reported him, what can you do? Your crime is an established fact, and it doesn't matter who reports you. Knox Jung suddenly smiled. I guess you can't forget me, right? I was full of questions. He became more certain. Only this explanation makes sense. Otherwise, why would you destroy me? Just to make me worthless and then have me return to you? After so many years, no, already 2 lifetimes, you're still the same as before, unable to let me go. It made me feel sick, truly. His mother is not pleasing. You're too self-centered. And by the way, don't block my way. I pushed him away and continued forward. He rushed at me again and blocked my way. Don't pretend, Ivy. If you didn't love me, you would have dated other men by now. After getting out of prison, I inquired about you. You have been single all this time and have never dated anyone. He pulled up my sleeve and said seriously, Wife, have you forgotten? We have a pair of lovely twins. In the previous life, we were a happy family of 4. How about this? I'll give you a chance. Let's get back together. Beep beep. I quickly took out my phone and called 110. Hello, is this the police? There's a sexual harasser here, at XX Street, in front of the XXX store. Knox Jung's face changed. You actually called the police. I hung up the phone and laughed coldly. How many dishes did you eat? Drunk like this? Hurting me once or twice isn't enough. Do you want to hurt me a 3rd time? Get out quickly. Don't be so self-delusional. Okay, even if all the men in the world died, I would never have anything to do with you. You're joking. What kind of person do you think I am? A billionaire heiress? I don't know what's in his mind. Is it a piece of shit? He could actually say such an abstract thing. Knox Jung looked in disbelief. You, just wait. Having said that, he left in a hurry. He had just been released from prison not long ago, and if he got caught again for other reasons, the punishment would be much harsher than for an ordinary person. I snorted in laughter and turned away to leave. Call the police. I didn't report it at all, just scaring him. This kind of scum isn't worthy of me reporting it. What I didn't expect was that Knox Jung is really a person of his word. He really did something that made me extremely angry. 9. The media company achieved success, and as the boss, I was invited to a novel reading session. Many peers humbly asked me for advice, and I never held back in sharing it. I actually really like this environment. We are all doing the same thing. No matter what we say, as soon as we speak, the other person immediately gets what I'm trying to express. We were having a great time talking, but Knox Jung, who had ill intentions, rushed into the book club with his mother, shouting loudly, I am Ivy Ming's husband. This scumbag woman took my family's resources, started a media company and got rich, then kicked me out. Don't be deceived by her appearance. Everyone was stunned. Whispering sounds kept happening. The colleagues next to her looked embarrassed. Li Yang was crying and complaining to everyone. My son was planning to pursue a master's degree. But she tricked my son into starting a company. We had already arranged the wedding, but she backed out, took the money my son gave her, and started a company in the city. Originally, my son had already started the company and made new friends, but she gave in to her jealousy and had someone frame my son. It caused my son to be imprisoned for 3 years. Such a despicable woman. How dare she come to this place? Everyone, please help my family. Li Yang is a natural actress. Her dramatic performance has deceived everyone. I sneered, you really can act. When have I ever been with Nox Zheng? I'm going to call the police and sue you for defamation. This time, I was really angry and directly took out my phone to call the police. Li Yang's face changed. She didn't expect me to be so firm. In her stereotype, I was just a meek neighbor girl. Nox Zheng remained expressionless, smiling and asking me, there's a mole below your spine and above your buttocks. And a butterfly-shaped birthmark below your chest. Right, we never were together. Are you sure? I was so angry that my body was trembling. In this life, we indeed never had any physical contact, but he carried the memories from the previous life. They have all had children with him, and they have done everything, both appropriate and inappropriate. He knows my body better than I do. After saying that, he smiled and approached me, whispering in my ear, now that you have some fame, this matter will probably spread in your circle soon. Marry me, and your character will not collapse. Otherwise, your career will be ruined, and your company will also go bankrupt. After saying that, he pointed outside. Many people took out their phones to take photos. It is indeed as he said. Today's events will gather into a storm, raging through the circle. But, so what? It's true that the media company brings me several tens of thousands of income every month, but my main assets come from Bitcoin. Even if the company goes bankrupt, I can still live comfortably. Thinking about this, I slapped him in the face. Unluckily, Nox Zheng, you miscalculated. I will use every means to protect my own rights. You wait, I'll get you. 10. The incident did have a significant negative impact on me. At least the company really can't go on. Because the articles I write take a positive energy approach, the things I do are full of negative energy. So I just stepped back to the second line, changed the company's name, made the new second-in-command the company's boss, and I moved to the background. Nox Zheng has some crooked ideas. He and Li Yang spread color rumors about me through the internet, and even accused me of cheating during a relationship. Some netizens believed what he said, as it sounded very convincing. Lining up to insult me online, I showed no mercy, hired a team of lawyers, and spent money sending cease and desist letters one by one. Many things did not happen in this life. Even if he talks non-stop, what can he do? The truth will eventually come to light. Soon, Li Yang and Nox Zheng were arrested. Spreading rumors more than 30,000 times, including paid for by them to hire online supporters, is enough to destroy themselves. The mother and son were very anxious. Trying to find out where my parents lived, they tried to use their past neighbor relationship to persuade my parents to talk to me, asking me to be lenient with them. But nothing could be done anymore. My parents didn't care at all. They just left me with a sentence. No matter what I did, they would support me. About Nox Zheng, when he was handcuffed again, facing the police's accusations, he went crazy, desperately said to the police, I am a reincarnated person. I know the future trends of the economy, and I also know what is about to happen. I will tell you the way to get rich. Please let me go. However, what awaited him was only imprisonment. Actually, when I heard him say these words, I felt really speechless. He had so many opportunities to use the golden finger of his previous life's memories to become rich, but he instead focused all his efforts on the wrong path. It really came true that saying, a dog can't change its habit of eating feces. After being sent to prison, he had his hair shaved off. Nox Zheng stared blankly at himself in the mirror and finally shed tears of repentance. He regretted it, and he wanted to do it all over again. So, when the guard wasn't looking, he headbutted himself against the wall and died.